What you might typically think of as a deadly weapon is not necessarily what is needed in order to prove an aggravated assault. This is Christina Williams with Just Criminal Law.
And David Mann, legal storytelling specialist. Okay, great. That's an interesting idea here. So first of all, what's an aggravated assault as opposed to just an assault?
An aggravated assault means that the state is going to have to prove that an assault or an attempted assault occurred and that a deadly weapon was involved and or serious bodily injury occurred. A lot of times, when somebody's charged with an aggravated assault by threatening someone with a deadly weapon, you might think, oh, that person had a knife or a gun, just something that's typically considered a weapon, but that's not always the case.
So I bet in your experience, you've seen some pretty interesting things be used or called a deadly weapon. So what's an example of one of those?
Sure, something as simple as a baseball bat or a boot, even a rock, those have all been determined by the state to be a deadly weapon, and in certain circumstances, my clients are actually facing serious violent felony charges.
So I can see how a baseball bat and a stone or a rock could be, yeah, but a boot? I mean, are we talking about throwing a boot at somebody?
Definitely depends on all the facts surrounding what occurred. For instance, if you throw a boot at someone, the boot is not going to be considered a deadly weapon. However, if you're wearing, say, a pair of steel-toed boots and you're in an altercation and someone ends up on the ground and you end up kicking the person, then that all of a sudden is a serious aggravated assault charge that you're looking at.
Has anyone that you've represented had that situation come up?
Yes, in fact, as a young defense attorney, I came across a situation where two guys were in a bar fight. It was, late at night. All the witnesses had been drinking, and it was really hard to figure out exactly what happened. But through the course of the altercation, one of the individuals ended up on the ground, and some of the witnesses said that they saw my client kick the other individual. Now, the other individual had some injuries, and so did my client, but instead of just charging my client with a simple battery misdemeanor, they charged him with an aggravated assault.
Because he was wearing steel-toed boots?
Exactly.
So when you dealt with this matter, how did you get through that? I mean, did you just have to accept that was a deadly weapon, or was there a way through that?
No, I mean, there was all sorts of different defenses that we had in that particular case. Obviously our client was in a situation where there was like a mutual combative situation. Both of the individuals were injured, and so my client claimed self-defense, but the state was alleging that he was attempting to cause serious bodily injury by kicking the individual with his boot. The individual didn't suffer any more than just minor injuries, and so we were able to negotiate a plea deal where the state realized, we've got a lot of witnesses, they're all intoxicated, we have a mutual combative situation here, both of the individuals were injured, and so we were able to get a plea deal that my client was happy with, and he didn't have to do any jail time or prison time, and so it was just a matter of negotiation in that situation.
Wow, so it sounds like it really comes down to sort of a legal mind to be able to tell the difference between, what you sort of have to accept in a charge and what really there's a lot of gray area in, which is what you're talking about here. So if someone finds themselves with an assault charge or an aggravated assault charge, facing prison time possibly, they're going to need a lawyer. So how do they get a hold of you?
Sure, we'll include a link in the description where they can call, text, or chat with a member of my team anytime, day or night. Here at Just Criminal Law, we know you only get one shot at justice, so make yours count.